Hello everyone, I am Suvarna Gaikwad, working as Assistant Professor in Relaxation Sanstha's Dada Patil Mahavidyalaya, Karajat. So, welcome you all in the TYBSc paper 2nd, Cell and Molecular Biology. So, as we are dealing with the molecular biology, so in the continuation of previous lecture, we are going to cover the topic the genetic code. So, in today's session, we are going to discuss the part 2nd of genetic code. So, let's start. So, in this particular session, we are going to discuss the definition of genetic code, then the work of Nirenberg and Khurana and the different properties of the genetic code. So, let's start. So, as we have seen that genetic code, it is a set of rules by which the information coded in a genetic material is translated into proteins by the living cells. And this term of genetic code was given by George Gamow. Okay. So, this genetic code, this diagram is of genetic code. In that the DNA strand, this particular portion is enlarged, and on the DNA strand there are the nitrogen bases. So the group of 3 bases called as codon, and each codon code for a single amino acids. So this is a genetic code. So we are now going to focus on the work of the two scientists, that is Nirenberg and Khurana. So these two scientists play important role in the deciphering of genetic code. The word decipher means to crack. Okay. So cracking of genetic code was done by Nirenberg and Khurana. Okay. First of all, in 1958, the scientist Crick postulated the central dogma of molecular biology. As we know that the central dogma includes the two important processes, transcription and translation. Conversion of DNA to RNA, it is the transcription, and conversion of RNA to the protein is called as translation. So these central dogma, first of all, given by scientist Crick. But the question arises, how did the 4 letter alphabets of nucleotides in the DNA or RNA, how can they code for the 20 letter alphabet of the amino acids? So this is important question. So in 1961, scientists Nirenberg and Matthew, these are two scientists, they first time cracked the first letter of the code. Okay, that means the first letter of genetic code. So these two scientists, they revealed that the RNA sequence, that is the UUU, it encodes the amino acid phenylalanine. So these first time given by Nirenberg and Matthew, that UUU codes for phenylalanine. Later on, another scientist, Hargobind Khurana, showed that the repeating sequence, that is UC, 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 this is the repeating sequence of U and C. It encodes a strand of amino acids. The strand is reading as serine leucine. Okay. So this is the most important discovery of Hargobind Khurana. Finally, in 1965, largely due to the work of Nirenberg and Khurana, the genetic code had been completely cracked or the deciphered. So they revealed that the codons, that is the group of 3 bases, they encodes a specific amino acid. And they also reveal that the order of codons determine the order of amino acids in the resulting protein. So in this way, these two scientists, they play important role in deciphering the genetic code. So this is all about the work of Nirenberg and Khurana. Now let us see the properties of genetic code. So there are many important properties of genetic code. That is, the first property is the genetic code is of triplet in nature. Then it is non-overlapping. It is commaless. It is non-ambiguous. It has polarity. It is degenerate, and it is universal. Okay, so these are some of the properties of the genetic code. Let us see one by one. So the first property is the code is a triplet code. As we know, the genetic code is read in triplet of bases. Triplet, that is group of 3 bases, and these bases called as codons. Okay, so this is the figure. So this is group of 3 bases G, C, A, and these are the group called as codons, and one codon code for single amino acids. Okay, so genetic code is made up of 3 nucleotides, and in this way it forms the 64 different types of combinations which we have seen in previous table. Okay, and now a single triplet is called as codon. So genetic code is of triplet nature. Okay. The second property is the genetic code is non-overlapping. Now see, all the codons are independent set of 3 nitrogen bases, and in that there is no overlapping. And these codons read from a fixed starting point, and it read in a continuous sequence of bases taken 3 at a time. This starting point is called as reading frame. For example, let us have a look at this example. So these are the codons AUU, GCU and CAG. So this is a group of 3 bases. So if there is a overlapping in this code, at that time it will read as AUU, then the overlapping from the second base UUG. If there is overlapping from the this, okay, that is the UGC. So if there is overlapping between these codes, then the sequence will be read as AUU, UUG and UGC instead of AUU, GCU and CAG. But this is not the case, as there is no overlapping in this sequence or in this codons. So the code is read as AUU, then GCU and CAG, which means that there is no overlapping in the genetic code, and the code is read from a fixed starting point and as a continuous sequence of bases. So the second property is code is non-overlapping. Okay. Coming to the third property of genetic code is commaless. Okay. A chain of genetic code or the codons is written in a single continuous line without any comma. Okay. For example, if this is a sequence, so AUG, comma, if there is a comma in the genetic code, it will be read as AUG, comma, C, comma, UCU, comma. Okay, so this is a wrong. There is no comma between the codons. In the second case, the codon will be read as AUG dash or CUC dash or the space. So also there is no space between the codons. So finally, the codon will be read as AUG, CUC, UCU, which means that there is no comma between the codons, there are no lines and no spaces, no any punctuations. That is, the code is commaless. Okay. Now, the next property is the code is unambiguous. Okay. The word ambiguous means the vagueness. So one of the important property of genetic code is the code is unambiguous. That is, the code is specific. Okay. There is no ambiguity. A specific codon always codes for the same amino acids. For example, let's have a look at this example, the codon that is CAC. It will always code for amino acid histidine. That means CAC codes for histidine and the specific codon always code for that particular amino acids. So there is no vagueness. The code is very specific. So this is code is unambiguous. Next property is the code has polarity. As we know that the message in mRNA, this is the mRNA, and on mRNA these are the bases. Okay. So the message in mRNA is read from 5' end to the 3' end. Thus, the polarity of genetic code is from 5' end to the 3' end. That means the genetic code has polarity. This is again one important property. The next property of code is genetic code is degenerate. Now keep in mind that the genetic code is redundant or degenerate. Now what the term degenerate means? See, in the previous property I have told you that the genetic code is specific and a specific codon always code for that particular amino acid. But there are many situations where different codons specify same amino acid. For example, if we able to see in this figure, so the codon CUU code for amino acid leucine, also CUC code for same amino acid leucine, then CUA and CUG also code for same amino acid leucine. Similar the case with the proline. Okay, that means the different codons they specify same amino acid, and this property of genetic code is called as degenerative property. Okay, but there are certain exceptions. For example, the tryptophan and methionine, each amino acid has multiple codons. Okay. The next property is the genetic code is universal in nature. For example, if we take the example of human beings, then the animals, then the plants and the bacteria. So what does the DNA of all these organisms have in common then? The answer is they all share a universal genetic code. Okay. For example, if in human beings the UUU code for methionine, then in bacteria or in animals also they will code for the same, that is the methionine. So in all living organism genetic code is same. But there are certain exceptions also. For example, the codon AGA and AGG, they code for arginine in cytoplasm. But the same codons, they in mitochondria, they are the termination codons. Okay, so there are certain exceptions, but generally all organisms contain genetic code is the same. That means the code is universal. So let's discuss about the important topic, that is the Hubbell hypothesis. Okay. So we have just seen the important properties of the genetic code. In that, one of the important property is the degeneracy of genetic code, which means that there are more than one codon for one amino acid, and this property is called as degeneracy of genetic code. Now the question is, why there is a degeneracy in genetic code? To explain this, in 1966, the scientist Francis Crick proposed a hypothesis which is called as Hubbell hypothesis. Okay? So according to this hypothesis, only out of 3, only the first 2 bases of the codon have a precise pairing with the basis of anticodon present on the tRNA, while the pairing between third bases of the codon and anticodon may wobble, means they may sway or they move unsteadily. Let's elaborate this with this figure. So in this figure we are able to see this is the mRNA. On mRNA there are nitrogen bases or the codons. So these codon, during the translation process, these codons has to be paired with the anticodons present on the tRNA. Okay. So when there is a base pairing between these 3 bases, so out of 3, the first 2 bases, that is the C and U, the first 2 bases of these codons, okay, they have a precise pairing with the basis of tRNA. That means here the C pairs with the G, that is the precise pairing. Again the U, it will pair with the A, it will also a precise pairing, but the third base, that is the C, okay, C, that is the third base of the codon, may wobble, that is may move unsteadily. For example, this is the normal, in the normal pairing, this C should have paired with the G, but in the wobble pairing, this U, it gets paired with the G. That means the first 2 positions are the normal pairing, but the third base or the third position, it is of Hubbell pairing. That means they move unsteadily. So this phenomenon or this hypothesis is called as Hubbell hypothesis, because the word wobble means to move or the sway unsteadily. Here in this case, the third base of mRNA will wobble and they will not pair precisely with the codons or the bases of tRNA. Now what is the function or what is the importance of this Hubbell phenomenon? So this phenomenon permits single tRNA to recognize more than one codon. Okay, so this will definitely permits tRNA to recognize more than one codon, so that though there are 61 codons for amino acids, the number of tRNA is far less, that is around 40, due to the wobbling phenomenon. Okay, so this is all about the Hubbell hypothesis. Let's have a look about the significance of the Hubbell hypothesis. So this figure includes the Hubbell position. The 2 bases are the normally paired with the bases on the tRNA, whereas the third base, it shows the Hubbell position. Okay, so what is the significance of this Hubbell hypothesis? So we know that our bodies has limited amount of tRNA, and in that case the Hubbell allows the tRNA with a broad specificity. So in that case this phenomenon will allows for broad specificity to the tRNA. Again, the Hubble base pairs are fundamental in secondary structure of RNA, and this will also important for the proper translation of genetic code. Okay, and finally, this Hubbling allows faster dissociation of this tRNA from mRNA and also faster dissociation of the tRNA from the processing of protein synthesis. So these are some of the significance of the Hubble hypothesis. So these are certain references for this topic. So friends, in today's sessions we have seen the work of Nirenberg and Khurana, then the properties of genetic code, and finally the Hubble hypothesis. So in this way we have completed the part second of genetic code. So we will stop here and meet in the next session with the new topic of molecular biology. Thank you very much.